Hi, I'm Mónica García, President of the Los Angeles Board of Education. Welcome to Families Matter. Joining me each month is my co-host, Mónica García, the Chief of School, Family, and Parent Community Services. Our goal is to provide information so families can help their children graduate. Joining us later will be Dr. Jaime Aquino, the new Deputy Superintendent of Instruction. Maria, today's a big day. We've got a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do. Our kids just have to achieve.
Yes, and you talk to parents a lot. You're focused on helping the board reach its goal of engaged parents and families at every school. What do you hear parents want from LAUSD?
Well, we've always heard parents anywhere they are, but in particular in LA Unified because it's so big and sometimes their voices get drowned out. But they care about their kids. They want their kids to do well in school. They want to help their schools, help their children. They want success for the future for their children. So if that's what we want and that's what they want, then we can think about a real authentic partnership with our parents.
And we talked about, we want to talk about the role of parents and families in supporting kids so that they can be effective. And I heard you talk about the dream of each parent that we have to tap into, right?
Absolutely, because what we know about parent engagement is that when that parent is in the home, really aspiring for their children's future, really dreaming very big for their future, then they're very connected to their kids. Then they know how to navigate the system on their behalf, even if they don't speak English, even if they've had a very limited opportunity for a formal education. That love that they have for their child sort of carries them. It boosts their energy, if you will, so that they can become partners and do the right thing for their kids. And in so doing, what we want schools to know is that the schools themselves will improve because parents support them, because parents have that kind of power and that influence.
And
very exciting. It
is exciting. It is exciting, and I think that's where LAUSD is moving towards, making sure that every school is a place where parents can come to. Every school is a place that, as we think about how do we help reach more students, that we're trying to reach out and include more and more families, because we're always having a few people come, but we need more people to come.
Yes, and you know, that's what I would like for parents to know. They can't leave the role of parenting to anybody else. They are their child's first partner in education, and they are their child's first teacher in education. So this is a lifelong role that a parent and a child will have. And so parents can't just give that up. Now, sometimes they do because they're not feeling too welcomed in the schools. So what the school has to do is really go out of their way and say to parents, we embrace you, we want you, we need you. And once they're in the door, then parents have to learn about their rights and their responsibilities. And you know, for all the rights that they have inside the school, the strongest is to advocate for their child. The strongest is to learn, how do I do my job at home so that my child reads at grade level, so that my child is mastering, you know, math, is getting along with people, is doing all the right things that is going to help my child mature and develop into a normal and successful adult. Yeah. That's what we want.
This is where we're so aligned with families. And so I heard you say, one, the love that a parent has for that child is one of the strengths that we have to bring into our school. And then knowing that the parent is an advocate, and that children with support at home do better in school.
Absolutely. The child who arrives at school without a fully empowered parent at home is like sending a child into an ice cream parlor without any money to buy ice cream, and all they can do is watch. So we want that child to arrive fully empowered and confident that mama y papa, our mother and father, are all there for us, that we're a family, that learning is a family matter, that achievement in our home is something that we want to value. So when we talk about parent engagement, we also talk about helping parents cultivate this culture of high achievement in their home, and make sure that that same culture of high achievement is going on in their school. And that way there's a seamless transition from home to school, and that's what makes this kind of marriage and partnership work so well.
And let's just be clear, you're not talking about only early ed or elementary school.
Oh no, I'm talking about middle and high school as well, because I'll tell you, my children are grown, and it doesn't end. Parenting never ends. And it really, if you've done your job well in the early years, when they're in preschool, kindergarten, throughout the elementary years. The middle school and high school years, while very challenging, your children will challenge you. The school structure challenges you, but that's when parents need to be even more engaged, because that's when our kids are more fragile. They are more susceptible to all the things that we may not know about as well. They Twitter, they tweak, God knows what else they call these things, but they do it all the time. And parents just sort of watch. They're like, we're sort of passive about that. We need to be integrated into their lives. And our children need to reserve a place for us. And they will not reserve a place for their parents if the parents sort of step back and say, ay, pues hay ustedes. So we need them even more in those years.
We do need the parents. And I think we all know in our personal lives that voice of whoever was that person who pushed you, whoever was that person who expected something from you. I know for me, it's that voice of my mom's, sí, mijita, sí puedes. And my mom always expected us to do the best we could. My mom always said, of course you can find a way. And so that little voice of inspiration and expectation is something also that every kid, right? Every kid has. And we have to help that be about reading and writing and focused on homework, focused on the papers, focused on whatever the task is today.
And that's really when we talk about families have strengths, they have assets that contribute to learning. That's exactly what we're talking about. A family has a way of saying, sí, mijito, you can become anything you want. And because we love them and we've nurtured them all the way through whatever grade they're in, that child trusts and believes in us. Now imagine if mom is saying this, if dad is saying this, and the teacher is saying this, the music teacher, the coach is saying this. Yes, try harder. Make those legs and that brain harder, right? Make them work harder. Then our child is surrounded by nothing but support, high expectations with love. Sometimes love has to be a little tough and a little bit of challenge to children. But we can't forget that we've got to push them just a little bit more, because life is pushing all of us just a little bit more in the 21st century.
That's absolutely true. And isn't it amazing that in Los Angeles, regardless if we're 92 languages or we come from over 100 countries, that when you think about the family and when you think about that relationship between the child and the parent, or the family and the child, that we're really on a universal plane here.
Absolutely. Every country, whether it's a primitive society, a highly technological society, wherever you are in space called the world, has a love for their children. Little animals, little birds nurture their children until they're ready to go on their own, right? And we as human beings that have intellect and the power to think and to embrace thought as a concept that happens, you know, not just alone, but in content with other people. We have that power to influence our children.
Yes, yes, we do. And here at LAUSD, at the second largest school district in the country, we know we have assets in our families, and we know part of our work is to find more ways for parents and families to be involved, to know how to help their children. And I'm so excited that we're going to be joined by our Deputy Superintendent.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be right back with Deputy Superintendent of Instruction, Dr. Jaime Aquino.
Through nutrition education, mentoring, and the poster contest, which we're celebrating tonight, we wanted to encourage our students in leadership and creativity. Healthy Schools campaign successfully reached over 28,000 students this last spring to raise awareness about nutrition and fitness in over 700 LAUSD schools.
These are the children who created the winning posters to communicate healthy messages in nutrition and physical activity. Through the Healthy Schools campaign, we were able to get lessons to all of the kids in 700 schools, in all of the after-school programs, and through the nurses at the schools. So we had lessons to teach about healthy eating and the importance of physical activity. That was during the first week, and then in the second week, the children created posters to promote the healthy messages that they learned.
We like a lot of fruits, so we decided to make an apple that that can inspire us how to eat real healthy and how to play hard.
You can visit our website at www.sosmentor.org. You can email us. We will have all kinds of nutritional information up on the website in English and Spanish, and we want you to become a part of our healthy community.
Welcome back to Families Matter. Joining us now is Dr. Jaime Aquino, Deputy Superintendent of Instruction, to help us highlight the important role that families play in their child's education. Welcome, Dr. Aquino. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you, thank you. I'm delighted to be in LA in this new role and joining both of you in this journey of transforming all our schools and making them into places of academic excellence. And I love the name of your show, Family Matters, because it truly takes a village to raise a child, and family and parents are a key element in making sure that all kids are successful. So I'm looking forward to working with all of you.
And you know, the board's goal of 100% graduation definitely sees engaged parents and families, and that's why we're thrilled that Maria Garcia is leading that reform in the district, helping every school be a place where families can come to learn how to support their kids. What would you tell us about the role of parents and how they can be helpful?
Well, the role of parents is essential. We're not going to be able to achieve the goal, the noble goal, and the right goal that you have set if parents are not partners. And one of the things I would say to parents is that their first responsibility is to love their children. That is essential. And to find time to praise them, because their kids are doing some wonderful, wonderful things. The reason I say that is because I remember reading once that a high school dropout wrote that when he does something well, no one ever remembers. But when he does something wrong, no one ever forgets. So we need to make sure that parents are there to praise and see the wonderful things that the kids are doing and the potential that they have.
That's so important. We were talking earlier about that building on that energy, on that emotional investment that parents give every child. And Maria.
Right. Well, I think what Jaime is saying is absolutely true, because when we send our children to school, we expect that teachers in some way act as a parent. They're sort of in charge. And that's the first thing you learn when you're going to be a teacher, is look for the good and help them correct whatever is not so good. I don't want to call it the bad, but recognize. And you know, we were talking at one point, I worked with Jaime, he's our partner, and I remember talking a little bit about hearing from parents only when things go wrong at the school. So if we want parents to come into the school, two things have to happen. Parents have to know that they have a role to play, not only when things are wrong, so that we can go in and praise the school as well, and praise our children at the school, and so that our children know that we're partners, but also have a role as advocates for their children when things are not going well. But parents cannot only be seen and not heard, nor should they only be seen when something went wrong.
You're absolutely
right. So I think that it applies to parents as well.
You're absolutely right, Maria. We need parents to be involved. And in a city like LA, where we have a lot of Hispanic parents, you know, being Hispanic myself and an immigrant, the notion of parental involvement is foreign in many of our countries. It's like that's the responsibility of the school. We see a change now in our countries. So parents don't understand that they have to be involved. They have to go to schools and see what's going on, demand excellence for their kids. Let me see what is it that my third grader is learning, what is it that my eighth grader is learning, and demand for higher standards.
Right. I think, you know, schools are the place for democracy still. When the public schools were created, you know, hundreds of years ago, it was with a purpose that anyone who went through that system, that process, came out of it a good American, a good person understanding what democracy is about. So today, talking about immigrants and even others, because our civic life is frail right now. So if we want civic engagement, it starts in the school. And parents being in the school make our schools democratic. They make them come alive so that teachers and administrators and all the other staff welcome parents and know that this is their rightful place. The school belongs to the community. The school, I am here to serve the community, to serve these parents.
But I also know, Maria and Monica, that for a lot of parents, it's hard.
Yes.
But there are a lot of things that they can do at home. So one as simple as, I think every parent should always ask their kids when they get back to school, from school, it's like, what did you learn today?
Right.
Make it a routine. What did Monica tell me? What did you learn today?
And if the kid says, "I was nothing,"
and that is
push.
That is very telling. That they model reading, reading habits. Just pick up. It doesn't matter if it's a newspaper. The kids show that there's an interest in reading. That they monitor what kids are watching TV with the older kids, who love to watch movies. Well, there's a lot of parallels between a movie and a novel. So, like, we're going to watch this movie together and ask them, what do you think about how this character develops from the beginning of the movie to the end?
The end of the movie, right.
Which is exactly what we ask in terms of when they're reading a book. It's an important reading skill in terms of character development and how the author does that. Very simple thing, does not cost money, kids will enjoy it.
It's there.
And it's there. We need to make sure.
Right. And especially watching the news, I
Watching
think, because
the
it
news.
brings us into current affairs. And what do you think about what's happening today in France, in Libya, in the Middle East, in Washington, D.C.? You know?
And
so,
the other thing that I'm really big on, and particularly for parents and everybody and teacher, is that I believe that intelligence is acquired. So I want parents to instill in their children the belief that the harder you work, the smarter you get. It's not that you're born with an intelligent mind or not, it's the effort. Which reminds me, there was a very interesting study comparing American mothers to Asian mother around math performance. And you know that Asian students do really well in mathematics. So they asked the American mother throughout the country, what do you attribute your child's success in mathematics? Overwhelmingly, American mother said to their ability, that they had a mathematical mind. They were born with a mathematical mind. You would be surprised. What do you think?
The Asian mind.
What do you think the Asian mother said?
Well, knowing about Tiger Mom, they probably said they worked hard at it.
Exactly. Overwhelmingly, the Asian mother said effort. It's effort. So they believe it's how hard you work. It's not that you're born with a mathematical mind, and that's what we want to make. All kids, the harder you work, the smarter you get. So intelligence is acquired. Believe in them, and believe like probably our parents did. Since we were kids, as I was a kid, it's like, you're going to college.
You know,
you're going to college.
I've met her mother, and I must say her mother is a very powerful, very good speaker, very motivating, very inspirational. So I understand that Monica's development, you know, is infused with this inspiration by her own mother. But tell me about your own parents. Tell us a little bit. I think we would be interested.
Absolutely.
You're an immigrant to this country, but also, you know, a newcomer to Los Angeles. What can we learn from your own experience? That would be very interesting.
Well, hopefully without getting emotional, because I think the greatest gift that I've been given in my life are my parents. It's truly a blessing.
It is a blessing.
They both have been role model in their simplicity, in their belief. I have 3 siblings, in their belief that we can do anything that we want to, and always being there. Even when we made mistakes, they were like, "Okay, you made a mistake. So what did you learn from it?" My parents are amazing, and you know, I'm so excited. I'm hopefully going to be seeing them soon because they're going to celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary. But that belief that belief that we can be anything, and being there, but also, and sometimes there was a little bit of tough love. It's like, no, wait a minute, you need to do this now. You need to do this because of this. But just the underlying belief since I was a little kid, that nothing, and particularly in a third world country that I come from, that I was not going to be anyone if I didn't have access to education.
Right. And I think that's what we want every teacher to understand, to respect, and learn to cultivate a relationship with these parents who have that kind of power. Yeah. Imagine, I was a teacher for many years, for about 10 years, and I taught at the elementary, the middle, and the high school. And behind every successful kid, I could almost hear their mama saying, "Sí, mijito, go for it. Yes, mijito." And I wonder sometimes that teachers today might feel a little bit alone in the classroom. The classroom can be so alone if you don't have colleagues and partnerships out there. And for teachers, what I would love for teachers to really understand and to focus on from time to time, as busy as they are, is to cultivate that relationship with teachers. I mean, with their parents, because that will pay off in terms of my effectiveness as a teacher.
And you know, the difference is it will make. You know, I've been in this journey for 25 years.
You're just a kid. I could be your mother.
I don't feel like a kid, but thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. But I've been in this journey of for 25 years of trying to make a difference in the lives of kids. And I honestly have not yet met a parent who does not want the best for their kids. Some of them don't know how to articulate that. But all parents really want their kids to succeed. So it is up to us, you the board, us the system, the schools, and the teachers, to find ways to tap on that amazing interest that they have in their children's success, and tap on that potential, unlock it, and make miracles happen in our schools for our kids.
That's absolutely right. And that's why we're at 100% graduation and not 95 or 90, because I've not met a parent who says, you know what, never mind, not my kid. Or a parent or a child who says, you know, no, I'm not interested in graduation. And so our belief in this district is we have a responsibility to every child and every family. And I think that is so powerful from the beginning to embrace that inspiration, that expectation, that love of the family. And that means showing up to school every day. That means having a conversation with the teacher about what's the expectation, how are we doing, how do we know that, all the things you said. And I think, you know, we talked about a teacher knowing that there's someone looking after that kid.
Right.
Right?
There's an army behind that kid.
And bringing that into when I need help with Jaime, I'm going to call. I know who to call, ¿verdad? Ya sabemos. Vincent's grandma's going to get the phone call because Vincent needs a little bit more love today. Right? And that's the opportunity.
I want to reiterate something. Really want to emphasize that point that you made, attendance. I want parents to know that one absence that the kid have in a year is going to impact their learning and their future. I'm not saying, obviously, if the kid is sick, but be very conscious, because sometimes they say, oh, you know, it's a little bit drizzly. No, I'm going to keep them ahí bendito, you know.
No me voy a mojar. I'm not going to get wet today.
But you know, the consequence. You know, as it is, we only have, about 180 days, and we really want to maximize that time. So attendance is absolutely essential. And particularly, I want to emphasize for kindergarten. As you know, we do have a
habits start there.
issue.
Habits start
I mean, we
there.
also have a great attendance problem in kindergarten, and I want to encourage all our little ones to show up every day.
You know, it reminds me that just like schools, we expect schools to have goals and objectives and a plan for this and a plan for that, and how are you going to spend your money? Well, that's what families do. They spend their money, they have resources, they have a home, they figure out how to provide for shelter, for food, for clothing, for their love, but it's got to be for a purpose. So I want families to really think about setting their goals, to have a plan, to say just like you want 100% graduation, Well, in my family of, I'm the youngest of 11, my parents actually said, every one of you will graduate from high school and go to college.
Yeah.
And you know what? It happened. It
Again,
happened. So parents, families matter.
Yes.
We need to have
Absolutely.
plans, goals. We need to check
Yes.
in and reflect
Yes.
occasionally.
Yes.
How well are we
Yeah.
doing? How not so well we're doing? And then I think, the plan at home, the plan at school,
And my
we come
last point
together,
is,
the same goal.
One of the harder things as a teacher, and for all of us as teacher, is trying to make learning real. Parents can do this very, very easy because they have the world in front of them. So like, for example, when you go grocery shopping and you're gonna pay, you tell your child, can you estimate what the change is? And if you get it right, you can keep the change.
Oh my God,
That-
I
those
would have
little
learned math
things,
immediately.
Immediately they will learn mathematics. What a great opportunity. And those
Absolutely.
are the small thing that parents can do. to
Well,
help our
we
kids.
learn a lot at home. Our children are home most of the time. They are at school 6 hours of the
Yes.
day. So it's just very simple math, whether you have ability or, it's been exploited and it's been developed. We know that families contribute to education, but families have to be convinced that they matter, that it counts, and that they have to be present in the lives
Yes.
of their children.
Yes.
And the schools have to be welcoming for them. And I think understanding, just as our superintendent, John Dacey, says, we have a challenge out there. And families and schools have to understand both of us are part of the solution. So we'll get there, we'll manage that. So you know what, I know that we could go on forever. I want to thank Mónica for inviting me to co-host, and Jaime, thank you for joining us today. Thank you, all of you who have joined us today on Families Matter, and don't hesitate to contact us at the Parent Community Services branch. You can visit our website